better young. Nigga, yeah, straight to him, big picture. MJ on the sheet, thriller, funny vibes every night. I forget. Recupera diverse. Tudo full set, o tamanho da cacheta. Levando a dance. Oh yes, my baby's a oh yes. Oh yes, my baby's a oh yes. Se for it, fica como dom, perelhona. Tu mega diveve. I forget. Recupera diverse. Tudo full set, o tamanho da cacheta. Levando a dance.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Chat on a Friday like this one, Friday special weekends in Jakarta. My name is Taizia Chela, and if you want to be part of this interesting Lunchtime Chat on a Friday like this one, all you need to do is give me that call or send me a text message on the number that is appearing on your screen. Or you can also just get to search for us. We are on Facebook, that is KBN TV, on YouTube, we're also on Instagram, Twitter, and yeah, all these other social media platforms. So you get to just search for KBN TV. And of course, you can also search for us. We are on DSTV, that's channel 279, on GoTV channel 27, and on Topstar channel 102. Now, being a Friday, and of course, I'm very, very excited, and also looking at what we are probably looking at this afternoon. We're looking at competition in the film industry. We've seen a lot of people are becoming actors, actresses. We're seeing a lot of either film producers or script writers. That's why we decided to look at this interesting topic this afternoon. And in the studio, I'm joined by Maposa Lungu, who is a film and a theater actor, playwright and screenwriter, the founder of Uliche Film and Theater. Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Chat.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Taizia. I'm very excited to be here, and I must say that I love that introduction.
I just had to include almost everything here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very grateful for that.
Okay, all right. So I think even before we get to just look at our topic of discussion this afternoon, I think there are a lot of other things that probably people would want to also ask, you know, because way back, if you look at the film industry, people will just go act, or even if you talk about theater, people will just go and do that for fun, and yeah, just to probably keep yourself busy. But maybe if you look at it at this point, we are seeing a lot of people, others even maybe quitting employment just to become an actor or actress. How do you look at the film industry in Zambia currently?
Whoa.
Like, how do you describe it?
Well, it's the film industry in the country at the moment is like beauty. Very difficult to define and describe, but I must say that it's a very lucrative field and space. It's an avenue that gets to give the citizens of Zambia and people in general the opportunity to be able to express and exploit all their abilities without consult. You recognize that when you talk about the film industry, you're not just talking about actors. You're talking about each and every artistic player that ultimately enables the people to enjoy a very good production. So you're talking about the actors themselves, you're talking about the script writers, you're talking about the makeup artists, you're talking about the cinematographers, you're talking about the people who prepare the food of the actors, you're talking about the drivers, you're talking about issues that pertain to security, you're talking about your stylists, you're talking about a whole host of people who ultimately get to contribute to what people get to enjoy as a good film, you know. So in the ultimate analysis, my description of the film industry in Zambia is that it is doing very well, and yet there's still a lot of room for improvement, because it's only in latter days that it has become very normal in Zambia for one to classify themselves as an actor. Back in the days, in fact, let me not even say back in the days, let me just say just yesterday, you know, I got this question from somebody who was asking me and just giving me accolades about my acting prowess. And so in the process of the progression of the discussion, they asked me, so apart from acting, what do you do? You get my point? So the moment an actor receives that question or gets that question, it already informs you that it hasn't become the modus operandi for people to be very comfortable with you telling them that you are a full-time actor. You catch my drift?
Sure.
People are not very comfortable because of where we're coming from. We're coming from a background where it was not a rewarded talent. Many people they heroically did that, so, and I give a lot of respect to those who went ahead of us and still are in the game. They did it because of a passion. They did it because of a love. Many times they put in a great deal of incredible work and they were not paid, but still toiled the line to this very point. They're still doing it, so that today those who are able to make money off the industry are doing so on the shoulders of those who went ahead and perhaps laid the foundation but did not get anything from it. So looking at where we're coming from, it wasn't a very rewarding industry to be in, but now I can actually confirm that things are looking up. Yes, I think we're already beginning to see the gray sky behind that silver lining, insofar as remuneration is concerned, because I think that's the biggest issue. Yeah, but it's getting better. It has a lot of room for improvement, and yet I cannot also say that there is nothing going on. That would be a lie. It's very lucrative.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I love the point that you raised. Say, somebody would ask you to say, so what do you do apart from acting?
Yes.
Are you working somewhere? And I think it also takes me back to the time that I used to act, because I would only do that when I'm not working.
You understand what I mean? Eh?
So
yes.
probably I think most people would ask them. But if you look at the industry now, is it possible to just see the film or arts industry reducing on high unemployment levels in the country?
No, without a doubt. Without a shadow of doubt. I will tell you one thing, that one of the biggest challenges our country has had since independence has been a difficulty to redefine itself. Unfortunately, to a large extent, many of the things we do them in accordance with what was bequeathed to us by the former colonial masters. It has taken a very long period of time for us to break off that shell and that shadow. You can only imagine we're turning 60 years as a country this year, and yet there's so many things we do that resemble and are reminiscent of the colonial factors. But if I should tell you that in the wake of the unemployment crisis, the government alone cannot solve that problem in and of itself. It will have to take the private sector. It will have to take so many funds to chime in and see what they can pick off the lot. And the film industry is definitely one of the avenues that we can use as a country to just breathe a little bit and to channel a great deal of a mass of talented people to begin to exploit themselves in that regard, so they can actually make money off it. So without a shadow of a doubt, yes.
Okay, are you saying that big yes because probably you're an actor, or is it because you are just seeing how people are just getting on board, be producers? Everywhere you go, you're seeing this person wants to produce and probably also take the productions to these media houses.
I'll tell you one thing, people don't flock for rubbish. They don't flock, people do not flock for rubbish. You catch my drift. So when you see this mass of people taking interest in this industry and in this field, then the indication there is that there must be gold somewhere. So each and every one of us is out there to ultimately earn a living. Of course, we want the world to see our talent. We want to serve the world with our talents. And yet there's a huge sense in which money is the motivation. We gotta survive, we gotta thrive. So in order for us to do that, there has to be a reward, and the reward is the money, which is a means of exchange. So most definitely, it's because I am in it and I'm able to see what's happening. So when I'm making this comment, I'm actually commenting from a very informed angle, and I'm commenting from a very experienced angle. And I'm telling you that one of the panacea to the unemployment crisis we have in the country is to boost the film industry. There's a huge sense in which a lot of young people who are massively talented will be rewarded. And you know, the more they reward, the more many people will get encouraged to even work extra hard. That's the thing. You catch my drift. So the answer to your question is a resounding yes. Yes. A resounding yes.
Okay, but where's the biggest problem when it comes to the film industry or arts industry? Where's the problem?
Poverty, I'll tell you. Poverty, and also issues that pertain to ignorance. Yes, when I talk about poverty, I'm not talking about it from the perspective of being hungry in the tummy. I'm talking about poverty from the perspective of a lack of opportunities, because you must understand that when we're looking at the definition of poverty, poverty also includes the lack of choices. So you look at poverty to be a lack of sufficient basic needs, but not only that, you also look at people's ability to be given enough choices to become what they are supposed to become. So if I give you a very good example, maybe in Zambia, 0 or 1 out of 10 people who grew up wanting to be pilots ever became pilots. That's a sign of poverty. It means we are poor as a country because people are not offered enough choices to become what they want to become. So most of the people who are doing different things today were molded to be in those spaces because of circumstances. If you have conversations with many of them, they'll tell you, I really wanted to become this, but I didn't have the opportunity. Or perhaps at the time, my country did not have that space. So, number one, poverty contributes. And that is the more reason we have the first generation parents emphasizing so much on go to school, acquire an education, and get a job. Why? They're looking at security. You get my point? I've heard many people criticize them and say, no, they did not give us opportunity to become. But what were you going to do? Because it was not there. There were no opportunities. And the only thing our parents tried to do is to look out for us. And at the time, because of that, that was the emphasis. And now, in the wake of this understanding that film and arts in general can bring bread and butter on the table, people are beginning to catch on to that fire. You get my point? So for me, I think the only edge I get to have for many people is patience. A lot of patience. I talked about poverty as well as ignorance. Ignorance in that there's a huge sense in which people feel that one cannot thrive in this space because there's no money. And we don't get to see the possibility of many people getting to just create an empire out of this. But I think we have seen how other countries have done an incredible job. You know, we saw how just a few years ago, or let me just say a decade ago, our markets used to be flooded with a lot of Nigerian movies. And today, when we're talking about Nigerian actors are leading in Africa. You get my point? But how did it start? We had so many people criticizing them vehemently about how that their movies were bad and they were boring, but it always has to start from somewhere. But if you look at the Zambian film industry and the Nigerian film industry today, by far can we say that we are anywhere near them, and yet it has to start from somewhere. So I think that no sooner we move in the direction of realizing that we need to really prioritize and invest in this industry, then we can begin to see things moving in some modicum of order.
Okay,
Yeah.
So remember, you, our viewers out there, can simply just send a text message or give me that call. Always ensure that you reduce the volume on your TV set. And of course, this afternoon we're looking at competition in the film industry. Do you think there's competition in the film industry, and what is really causing that? And this also brings me to the same question. How is the competition, if you look at probably the industry as it now, how's the competition?
Well, from the perspective of an actor, it's present, and I must say it's good. Yes, it's good because it keeps you on the tips of your toes. It's good because it makes you realize that you cannot give the people anything that's less than the best. It's good because it makes you not to be complacent. It's good because I think it makes you realize that if people are going to get what is good, then you must be putting in the work. Yes, so competition at any level is good. What becomes a problem is when malice creeps in. Yeah, when you want to become malicious, because you perhaps have noticed that the other person's progress may deny you of a particular opportunity. That in itself becomes very detrimental, because at the end of the day, despite the need for competition, we must never lose sight of the fact that we need each other. And at one point, it may be you shining, and the next point, you will need the next person in order for you to shine. So competition is there, and it must continue to be there, and we must just never allow it to degenerate to hatred. We must just never allow it to degenerate to beginning to deny people who deserve opportunities the opportunity to be cast for particular productions. Not only that, but also to just be given the opportunity to express themselves. And when I'm talking about this, I'm not just talking about an actor, but I'm talking about literally everybody, from the cast to the crew, and everyone who gets to add a brick and contribute to what ultimately becomes a good production. I think that it's good. We want the very best of the makeup artists to be in a production, the very best of script writers to be given the opportunity to showcase their scripts, the actors, and a whole host of all players are mentioned at the time the program is starting. So it's there, and it's good. Okay. Yes, it's good.
Okay. It's good that you've mentioned that the competition is there and it's good. Yeah. You're an actor.
Yes.
Who, from the maybe actors, who do you look up to, especially here in Zambia? Do you have any?
Apart from myself?
Yes, apart from yourself.
Oh, great. Whoosh, it's a lot. I must mention names.
Yes, because we want to know who.
Well,
okay. Before you even get to probably just share who inspires you.
Yes.
Who do you think is really, doing it the way it's supposed to be done? There are certain people, they'll still be on the screens, but you look at whatever things they're doing, you're like, that person is not supposed to be an actor or actress. So I think, otherwise we'd no, I think this one was born for this.
I get your point. Ila become position ya kubati ebuta ulumbwile bambo kumona kwa tawabatemo. You get my point. So
no, just one. I know there might be too many, but I think maybe just one person, one actor or one actress whom you feel okay, but I think this one really knows what he's doing, understands this, and gives it, the very best.
Okay. Robinson so far.
Okay.
Yes, Robinson so far is a film and theatrical actor. Yes, he's a very, very brilliant actor who, from my perspective, looks at things from a very holistic angle. He's one such actor who, when he's given the opportunity or he's cast for a role, takes time to research about the role and begins to work in that regard to get himself in shape for that role, so that when he's playing that role, what you see is him delivering that role as if he were the only person that was ever created for that role. So yes, I give him a lot of credence and a lot of respect in that light, because I think that is how each and every one of us is supposed to be doing this. And shout out to the Robbie, Freaky Robex, he calls himself that. It's I think that kind of an attitude in the culture that is going to help us as actors and as people who are in the film industry to thrive. In the very same way that a teacher is going to do their lesson plan, study their notes, and ensure that they deliver their lesson accurately and appropriately and in a so relevant a manner, is the same way that actors also need to bend over backward, do some research, understand how they need to look, how they need to speak, what expressions a particular character they're playing can make and what they can't make. So there's a multiplicity of great actors, but you asked me to just pick out one, so I just had to randomly pick out on this person. And when I'm saying this, I'm saying this from the deepest recesses of my heart. This is one of the greatest actors we'll ever have in the country. I know that the country is yet to see him, but I promise you, perhaps one day will come this person and say, oh, he had actually mentioned. Yeah, I think this country must look out for him. He's a very, very great talent. he has the ability to actually represent this country on a very, very global scale. Right. Without a shadow of a doubt.
All right. Always ensure that you reduce the volume on your TV set. Hello, good afternoon. You're through to Lunchtime Chat. Good afternoon. You're through to Lunchtime Chat. Hello. Okay, so you can also participate on Lunchtime Chat. We are looking at competition in the film industry. You can get to share with us what you think. Is there competition, and just what you think needs to be done, especially when you look at the film industry in the country? Are we able to also probably, ensure that other African countries will just be glued and watch our productions on their screens? So you can also comment on that. Always ensure that you reduce the volume on your TV set. Yes, ensure that you reduce the volume on your TV set. If you look at where we are right now, do you think we need more film schools in the country? I think I've heard of one, but I wouldn't really mention. But do you think we need more film schools in the country? Because you find, if you go either to the States, or you find that the schools there, people really make money. Do you think we need schools in the country? Or we just have that natural kind of inborn thing?
I don't think so. I know so that we need them. Yes, I know that we need them because, like you rightly put it, yes, it's one thing for one to be talented and to be gifted, and it's another thing for them to be able to nurture the gift and talent they have to what it's supposed to be. So if at all you want to plateau ever in your life, you must abandon continuous learning. And schools provide an opportunity for people who are in a particular field to learn and to acquire more knowledge and to sharpen their skills. So when, if at all, each and every field gets to have people undergo training before they can be churned into society to offer their services, why not for an industry like acting and an industry like art? So we definitely need schools. And it's from the schools that we will get to understand what the dynamics of this industry are. If we're going to call it an industry, then most definitely we need to have experts. We need to have people who have the experience to teach you the nuts and bolts of the field. So most definitely, I don't think so. I know that we need the film schools.
So who's supposed to just push for this to be, effective? If we're looking at the film school, is it the ministries, is it the government, or it's you people who are into this industry?
So it's a concerted effort. It's a concerted effort. Of course, I initially said that the government alone cannot solve the problem of unemployment. The flip side of the conversation also is that the government is supposed to ensure that it provides a very conducive atmosphere for such kind of abilities to be harnessed and channel them into a team effort that will enable us to bring about results. So I would tell you that I cannot think of any filmmaker or one who has people who have experience in the film industry declining an opportunity to become a teacher and teach the younger generation, pass on the baton to them and say, take it to the next level. They will not refuse. Tell me one who would decline. I can't think of any, because you see, there's a lot of satisfaction which comes in you garnering a great deal of knowledge about a particular field and you realizing that this knowledge needs to be passed on to the next generation. So it's a concerted effort. There's a multiplicity of people today who actually want to move in that direction, and yet the scarcity of resources also gets to constrain them. So it's a conversation which needs all players and to be on board, and yet we must also be very candid enough that the government also needs to step up in that light. We get to see the government, year in, year out, not relenting in financing such sports like soccer, basketball, and all these other fields. The net effect also is that there's dire need for the government to also prioritize other fields. We can't all be soccer players, we can't all be soccer fans. Some are involved in other fields, and those fields also need a great deal of financing. So I will say that it's a concerted effort, and yet the government showed us a huge share of the responsibility insofar as creating a proper foundation for these schools.
Okay.
Yes, you can never do things in isolation to the government.
All right. Always ensure you reduce the volume. Hello, good afternoon. You're through to Lunchtime Chat.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, what's your contribution?
I think that the film competition in Zambia is not active. Like, people who have skills out there are unable to express themselves.
What do you think needs to be done?
What I think to be, okay, I myself here feel like I can act. Of course, yes, I can. But, okay, what I think is to be done is, for those people who are acting out there, they should be listening to us who are outside, who may think that they may contribute to the competition in the film industry, may have a chance to like act as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you people are not giving others chances out there. Is it true? You know why maybe she feels like that? Because we've seen the same, you are probably a script writer.
Yes.
When you're writing your script, you would
Yes.
also want to just use the same faces that you've seen acting, but not giving chance to other people out there. So even when probably you'd post something, say, okay, there's this production coming up, we need people to come and audition. But then again, you still go and pick the people who are seen on screens. Could it be because you believe so much in those you've seen and like the potential that is out there?
No, absolutely not. Actually, at our film and theatre company, that's Uliche, you will notice the evolution of the use of different actors. Last year, we hosted 2 theatrical plays at the Hindu Hall. We hosted actually 3. The same one at the Hindu Hall and at the Alliance Francaise. And the last one, which we hosted on the 3rd of December, was at the Hindu Hall. And if you look at the casting in these productions, you notice different faces. You get my point. And these different faces are being brought in the picture in the work of providing an opportunity to each and every person who feels that they have the ability to act. And so I understand her concern, and I wouldn't want to dismiss it. There have been so many circumstances where people have gone for auditions and haven't been picked because the assumption is that, well, even if this audition is being held, it's just a formality. The filmmakers already have their cast at the back of their minds. But I'll tell you one thing: if you hang around the barbershop, you soon get a haircut. If you hang around the barbershop, you soon get a haircut. So we have people who are seated in their homes and saying, I feel I can act, but I'm not given the opportunity. And you don't go for auditions. You don't have conversations with people who are in the space. You don't get to just find yourself in, if you're told that a Zambian film is premiering, you don't go there to even just watch, and interact with actors. It begins from there. If you have conversations with actors and you begin to find yourself in those spaces, you realize that there's a lot of information that is lying idly by about where the next gig is. But we have armchair critics and saying, oh, if opportunities and competition is not there, or it's not enough because we're not given the opportunities. I will tell you one thing: even in a situation where we may get to have our industry grow to a point where we reach the levels of South Africa and Nigeria, still that complaint will always be there, and that is based off one's experience. And yet the story of another person is actually going to be different. I mean, I have had to go through these steps, from the very bottom to where I am, and I'm still pushing. You getting my point? But how does it start? How does one get to be identified to be an actor, if at all they do not present themselves at the point where these things are done? It becomes very difficult, because still, I mean, filmmakers will not dream. You really gotta present yourself. If there's an audition, go there, do your audition. fail one too many times, and yet sooner or later, I think you strike God. So my encouragement to my sister is that the realities she presented are very true, and yet it doesn't help to just stay back. And I think that little drops of water eventually make a mighty ocean. So if you continue to push, eventually the industry will budge, and it will give you the opportunity to now showcase your talent. But I must also mention that it's one thing to feel that you can act. It's another thing for you to also be able to do it. Okay. Because I think that the other wrong perception we have around is to think that you just appear, read the script, and then just begin to say stuff as you want to know. It's a skill, you know, it's an art that needs things to be done in a certain way. You get my point. So in the ultimate analysis, we must also note that in as much as one can feel that they can do it, it may not necessarily mean that they are ripe enough to actually even do it. There's a great deal of things they may need to learn. We have people who get to sit and learn for 6 months, they get to sit and learn and practice, maybe even for 2 years. You get my point? So one who's been doing it for a very long time cannot be compared to one who just started. Obviously, there's going to be a difference in terms of delivery and all those things. So what I just don't want is for us to just think that we can just wake up and say, because it's just talking and gesturing, then I can easily do it. No, it's not as easy as people may think it is. It is very possible, it is very attainable, but I'll tell you that it's no cakewalk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you also mentioned to say way back we'd spend more time watching Nigerian movies, and I think maybe in a few African countries, I think I'm able to see they would also even show a movie that's being produced from Zambia. What factors do you think have been hindering the growth of the film industry in Zambia, so that we can have all these other movies?
I will tell you that we'll talk about factors, but in actual fact, it's just a factor. Yeah, finance. Yeah, that's the biggest issue. It's finance, really. People cannot feed on passion. There's a huge sense in which the passion has to begin to generate income. I think that everywhere else in the world, there is nothing that is more common than unrewarded talent. But I'll tell you this, that fact is not even true anywhere else than it is in Zambia, you know. And so there's a multiplicity of people who are hungry for this. They really want to show the world and the country what they can do, what stories they can tell, what powerful films they can produce. And yet the greatest limitation is finances. That is a very, very huge limitation. And so you find that in the work of other countries doing the same thing we're doing, it becomes a little bit difficult to compete favorably when you don't have the money. So at the end of the day, even a good script may end up becoming a bad film because it wasn't well funded. Because you also have to understand that the money you have also gets to determine what actor you have on your production. If you have a bad actor on your production leading it, the production may not fulfill what the writer had in the first place. So there are all those factors to consider. And when the casting directors are making considerations to choose one actor over another, it's based off skill, it's based off delivery, it's based off you wanting to have a particular message sent you. There's a particular goal you're trying to achieve. So you don't just pick on actors because they're actors. You pick on them based on what you have determined they're actually able to deliver on set.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon. You're through to Lunchtime Chat.
Hello.
You are through to Lunchtime Chat. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, you are through to Lunchtime Chat. Okay, always ensure that you reduce the volume, and maybe even before you get to call, pay particular attention to what we are looking at. We're looking at competition in the film industry, so you can probably just get to comment on that, or you can simply give me that call. Ensure that you reduce the volume on your TV set. Now, you talked about probably finances, but again, we've seen a lot of people, you know, coming on board, joining the film industry, becoming producers, actors, actresses, writers, makeup artists. I think it's a sign that there's money. Or is it a few selected, maybe production houses that are, you know, enjoying their money?
The money is there, but I mean, it can get better. Yes, it can get better. And I'll tell you that even the ones who seemingly seem to have it, obviously are aware that the work they put in is not commensurate with what they get. So the point I'm making is not that there isn't money. The point I'm making is that we have a lot of room for improvement. The money can be more than it is for each and everyone to go back home smiling. You get my point. So we mustn't be very complacent and satisfied with what's happening, with where we are today. You know, it's very difficult to value an idea. An idea, if you ask me, is priceless. Even if I came up with a brilliant film and I told you this is a $50 billion film, I do not know the impact it's going to have on society. It's going to have a very healing impact on society, which may be more valuable than the amount we're talking about, and yet we still have to value it, to get the point. So the point I'm making is that yes, the money is there, but it can get better. We mustn't be satisfied, because the more the money, the more we get to have more people jumping on board and seeing how best we can have people rewarded. And if people are rewarded, then it means that it's in a sense, it helps people to not just be happy that they have money, but you're also solving problems that people face. Ultimately, people gotta survive and they gotta earn a living.
Okay, you talked about the money being there. Could it be the problem with people who are maybe producers? You find they're given more money, and probably what they get to share is something that is very little, and as a result, maybe some people have started feeling as though there's little money in this industry.
Nobody gets a gun and begins to scold an actor as to them dying if at all they don't jump on production. Like I said, this is an industry, and so before you can jump on a particular production, it could be a theatrical production or a film production, you are given a contract. First of all, it's the advert. After you do the audition, the next thing is is you getting to read the terms and the conditions of the contract. So if you determine that what they're offering is not good enough for you, there's nothing wrong with you declining. You get my point? So I cannot begin to discuss the nitty-gritties of how much producers get, how much they get to give the actors. You have a discussion there. And as an actor, or as a person who works in the industry, there's value you have to place on yourself. And if at all you've valued yourself at a certain level and you're offered less, why should you go for less when you know that you're valued high and you know the reason you've placed a particular value on yourself? So I think we really need to be very honest with ourselves when we're having these conversations, so that we don't find ourselves always having to be armchair critics. You get my point? Of course, all those realities could be there, but let's not talk about it as if you were just sleeping and somebody came and somehow signed it for you and you found yourself there. Look, you're complaining that there's this and all those things. And when I'm saying this, I am not saying that the situation doesn't need to improve. Yes, it needs to improve. But in response to your question, to say that you have greedy producers and whatsoever, the issue is you signed a contract. A contract is an agreement. You agree to the terms and the conditions. So you don't begin to complain or renegotiate the terms and conditions of your contract midway. Yes, that is impropriety.
Okay.
It's breach of contract.
All right. Now, getting back to you, you're an actor. What challenges have you faced in the industry? You just being an actor, if you're able to share, maybe just under a minute.
It's a multiplicity of them, but like I said, among the challenges I've faced has been issues of finance. I'm very passionate about film and theater, and I have written a great deal of films. I have written a great deal of stage plays, which needs to be seen by the world. And yet some of the limitations we get to have is visibility as well as finance. When when I have a cast and crew on a particular production, at the back of my mind, they must go back home smiling, each and every one of them. And yet, the money which comes from the ticket sales may not suffice. So, us getting to have enough resource, and I mean finance, I think would be a load off our chest, because it means that we'll be able to remunerate each and everyone, and the next time we have a production, it will be very easy for people to be confident that we are doing something, we have something going on that is making a difference in the lives of people. So, because even at this stage, because you have to understand, the company I run is self-funded, and we get to have a couple of sponsors and partners jumping on board, and they lighten the burden. And yet, I think that if we had literally everything we needed insofar as finances, and there's a huge sense in which many objectives could be met. If you come and attend our shows, you realize that our shows are the very best in the country. Yes, I must say. Yes, no, we are the best in the country. We are the best in the country. We are the most consistent. We have the best scripts. We have telling the best stories. And so, with the little we do, we manage to touch and change lives. How much more, if at all, we were given a nudge and a clutch and some fuel by external funding? I think that would conquer the world. There's nothing would fail to do.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Maybe what would be your closing remarks since we've come to the end of our chat?
Well, my closing remarks is that ultimately, this is like a relay race. Yes, we really want the film industry to somewhat instantaneously bring about the change we want to see. But we mustn't forget that development and progress never comes in a smooth and straight line. It comes in fits and starts. And like I said, it's a relay race. So we have to be very patient with ourselves, because if we try to short circuit ourselves to a level we are not at, we may end up becoming dysfunctional. So I think, yes, we must have the aspiration to want to do great things and to grow the industry, but let us also allow the industry to organically grow, and yet strategically so. Yes, we mustn't rush it. Let it grow organically. If something grows organically, there's a huge sense in which it becomes strong, and it becomes formidable, actually, and it stands the test of time. So I think that the future is bright. Things are looking up in the industry, and the sky is the lower limit.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for making an appearance.
Well, thank you very kindly for having me. I'm very excited.
Okay.
You made a very good host, by the way.
Thank you.
I could talk to you the whole day.
Ah, really? Interesting. No, I think we'll have that on some other day.
By all means.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was Maphosa Lungu, who is a screenwriter and founder of Uliche Film and Theatre. On Lunchtime Chat this afternoon, we're looking at competition in the film industry. My name is Taizia Chela. See you next week from Monday to Friday at exactly 13 hours. Good afternoon.